So Diana Gabaldon has just stated the shape of Book 10, and she said it resembles a hurricane from above or an orb weaver's web, depending how you look at it. We all know that I have thoughts on this, but for purposes of this video, I'm going to focus on the hurricane, and we'll do a part 2 for the web. Now, if you're confused about what the shape of the books are, I do have an entire playlist of videos on this, but basically, Diana has said that when she is laying out the books, she sees a shape in her mind that dictates the story and the events that will take place in each book. First up, we have the spiral of the storm. Now, spirals as a whole are considered to be ancient and sacred. They represent motion, power, and growth. But they also represent balance between chaos and calm. The spiral of the hurricane also mirrors Celtic spirals carved into ancient stones, symbols of life, strength, eternity, and the divine cycles of time. Kind of like the carvings on the stones at Craignadoon and the carvings that Master Raymond has on his cabinet at his apothecary and on the stones that he gifts Claire in book 2. And fun fact, Uncle Lamb has the same carvings in his archaeological findings. So more hidden messages. For me, I think the hurricane spiral likely represents the eternal turning of fate. It could also apply to the warrior mentioned in the title with regards to a warrior's path twisting and turning, but ultimately, like the spiral, all leads back to the warrior's destiny. So for a warrior, say Jamie, the hurricane's form could become a blessing of power, purpose, and centeredness, but also turmoil. Then we look at the center of the storm, which is the eye. As a Floridian, I feel like I'm in a unique situation where I can talk about this because I understand how hurricanes work. Basically, they come on shore and wreak absolute havoc. Just when you think you can't take any more, the skies part, and all of a sudden, there's just this calm. And that is when you are in the eye of the storm. But usually after this calm, the worst is the storm comes. So maybe this is a foreshadowing to the book starting off chaotic. The warriors go out to battle. In the middle of the books, there's a stillness of some kind, short-lived, like the eye of the storm, but a peace all the same. And then the worst is yet to come. This could also represent maybe like the warrior giving strength and staying calm in the heart of combat to, I don't know, act out of peace and not rage. Probably not. But I'm also throwing this out there based on what I know about storms. The eye of the storm could also represent a character in the books, specifically one person, maybe Claire. The pattern I've seen with Claire is that she often embodies calm in crisis. She's steady, like as everything around them is falling apart. So maybe she's the blessing to the warrior, using her blue light to heal. I don't know. More to come on that later. Another thing about hurricanes is even before a storm hits or makes landfall, there are a lot of what we call outer bands of the storm. And these bands are on the exterior of the storm, but affect areas long before the storm makes landfall and areas well beyond the projected landfall area of the storm. This is kind of interesting to me. So this could represent that the 9 books leading up to book 10 were the outer bands, hitting little storms everywhere, and that the big storm hits and makes landfall in book 10. Like that could track. And the other thing to note is that outer bands, they spiral outward and affect areas not even in the path of destruction. So they draw energy and influence from vast distances and affect places and people, like I said, that are not even necessarily in the path of the storm. I think that this is a representation that the actions the Frasers take will continue to have a ripple effect across time in other areas like the outer bands of the storm do. So last thing about the shape of a hurricane is that it is often referred to as a circular completedness. And we could direct that and take that in so many ways. But if we think about a hurricane, we know it moves with purpose, right? It's not fractured, it's always whole. That shape can represent so many things. It needs a separate video all on its own. But This could also be a foreshadowing of everything coming full circle, going through the storm to reach the calmness at the other side. So the warrior protecting and possibly dying in the storm so that everyone else can survive. Like the hurricane, you cannot run from it. All you can do is bunker down and pray for the best. It's kind of like, sort of like how they're always trying to change the past, trying to stop the wars, change history, but what is meant to be will always be. And no matter where they walk on the Mobius, they will always come full circle and end where they started. All I know is I'm so excited for book 10, and the fact that it is a storm coming at them, and the title is a blessing for a warrior going out, leads you to believe that something huge is coming. Someone is going to sacrifice, and it is going to be necessary for all of the rest of them to get to the other side of the storm. The question is, who will the warrior and the sacrifice be?